in Subaru when they built this car. For example, we'll start with the powertrain. The engine itself is a horizontally opposed 4-cylinder, much like a lot of just about every Subaru vehicle out there is a horizontally opposed engine. But it's also incorporating Toyota's injection system, which is a D4S injection system. So it's actually producing 200 horsepower, 151 foot-pounds of torque, and it's a direct injection fuel system. So it's not only is it producing a heck of a lot of power, but it's also very economical. This is an automatic. All these vehicles are with a 6-speed automatic transmission, making 34 miles a gallon on the highway. So we've got high power, very economical, and it's also bringing the center of gravity very low in the vehicle using a boxer engine. So it's bringing that low center of gravity. So like I said, the transmission is a 6-speed automatic. Also, the rear differential is a 4.1 Torsen limited slip differential, and it's rear-wheel drive. Hence the FR-S, front engine, rear-wheel drive, sport. And that's where that terminology comes from. You guys, would you happen to know what this is right here? I'll let you look at it for a couple seconds. See if you can tell me if you've seen something like that on a car before.
Type of silencer or something.
It's actually the opposite of a silencer.
It's a vacuum recirc.
It's actually the opposite of a silencer. What they've done here is because the car is so well insulated, when people have the windows up and they're driving this vehicle, they can't really hear the engine all that well. So what they designed here on this intake track, this is actually like a bass drum. And so what it does is it takes the harmonics of the intake noise, and it produces it through this tube. It goes right into the passenger footwell. So when you're driving the car, you can actually hear the intake noise while you're driving the car. So it's little things like that. When Scion Toyota developed this car, they kept the sports car enthusiast in mind. They were so passionate about it, they want this to make this as much fun to drive as possible. So that's a little bit of the features under the hood. And Sean, our presenter here, is also going to talk about some of the exterior features as well.
Yes, as we make our way over to the passenger compartment here, take a note of the emblem on the side, which says the 86, the throwback to the 86, as well as the design. The tires right there look as drifting. Take a look at the interior here. You may even notice on the front grille, the passenger dash over there. You're going to notice when you get inside later, it actually looks like the original Toyota logo. It's just kind of layered and layered and layered on top of itself. Also, keeping the sports enthusiast in mind, the steering wheel right here comes in at 14.37 inches. Toyota's smallest steering wheel, real easy, real nimble. There's other neat features here. For example, this door handle can be pushed back. So if you want to put a roll cage in this, take this to the track, do a little more with it, you can. It's set up so that you will be able to do that down the road. Additionally, you've got these large bolsters in the seat. It's going to keep you in the seat. Now, seatbelt's always necessary, but you're going to feel when you're in there and you're going around a turn, you got that on either side to keep you nice and secure. Beyond that, you can actually see we have the back bolstered up. There's plenty of room for 4 tires in the back. Throw a blanket down, throw the spares in there, race tires, good to go. Beyond that, once you get in the driver's seat, you're going to notice the tachometer is centrally located, very large, so shifting and driving the car is a primary concern right there. Digital speedometer, and of course all Scion's customization is king. TRD components until you're blue in the face. These right here, they're going to have springs. Okay, they're going to have the TRD exhaust. You've got options for sway bars. Down the road, you're going to have 18-inch rims. Right now, you got the Yokohamas on here. It's going to come with Yokohamas down the road. And AJ is going to tell you a little bit more about these.
Yeah, so if we look at the exterior of the car too, if you guys are at all familiar with Toyota's history and other cars they brought out back in the 60s, the first real sports car that Toyota came out with was called the Sports 800, and then what they came out, that was in 1965, and in 1967 they came out with the Toyota 2000 GT. And if we look at the rear window and this swoop here, this is kind of a throwback to that model. So if we look at the stance of the car and the particular body shape of this vehicle, it looks very similar to the 2000 GT. And they actually had a 2000 GT in the modeling room when they built the clay model for this car. So they use that as a reference point. This is form follows function at its best as well. This is extremely efficient aerodynamically. It's got a 0.27 coefficient of drag on this vehicle. If we look at the roofline, for example, this isn't done just for show. This actually has an effect with the airflow over the top of the vehicle. If we look at these taillights, these little winglets right here, this actually, again, is done on purpose to allow the airflow to be a little bit more efficient towards the back of the car. The hood, for example, they wanted to keep as low a profile on the hood as possible. So if we actually look at the radiator inside the car, it's actually on an angle to allow that roof line to come down as low as possible. Again, the front bumper itself, same thing. All kept in mind to keep the coefficient of friction for the aerodynamics as low as possible. So this is a huge throwback. It's very nostalgic to the other Toyota sports cars they came out with. The Sports 800 I was talking to you about before, that also is a throwback to when Toyota collaborated with Yamaha back then when they used a horizontally opposed Yamaha 2-cylinder engine. So now in this retrospect, we're using a Toyota designed vehicle, but with a Subaru engine. So a lot of these components are used as a throwback towards their history and their heritage. So much like you see a Mustang with that retro look, this is Toyota's version of their retro look that they had for some of the sports cars that came out. Now the 86 also signifies, they use that throughout because this is also a throwback to the Toyota Corolla that came out in the mid-80s. And the chassis code then was the AE86, and so they use that throughout this vehicle. Again, like Sean said, the 86 on the side of the car here. The 86 also comes into point with the engine. It has an 86 millimeter bore, and an 86 millimeter stroke. Actually, the diameter of the rear tailpipes are 86 millimeters as well. So we've got a lot of little hints throughout the car as well for that. So that's a little bit of a gist of the car itself and Toyota's thought process when they built this vehicle. So we'll come back under the tent, we'll talk a bit about the course and